Welcome back to my channel. My name is Junior Lee. I'm a vacant land wholesaler who's closed over 100 wholesale deals in my career. Today I'm going to walk you through my 14th closing where I was able to make $2,000 on an assignment fee working less than 1 hour on the deal. My goal with this channel is to give away enough free information to add value to someone so that they can be successful in land wholesaling as well. Thanks for watching. So this being my 14th closing in my career, it actually took place all the way back in May of 2021. And like I said, I made $2,000 on the assignment fee, which doesn't sound like a lot, but altogether I probably spent less than 1 hour on this deal, maybe even closer to 30 minutes. The reason being was this was the fourth deal from one property list that I had already pulled the year prior. So from that one list, I was able to generate 4 deals at an average of about $3,000 per deal, grand totaling $12,000 in net assignments from one list that cost me $250. So like I said, this was from a prop stream list that I had already pulled the previous year. So I went on PropStream and I targeted this one specific neighborhood, which at that time was my 4th closing in that one neighborhood. And all together, I've closed 6 total lots in that neighborhood. And I actually have 1 more under contract right now that I'm looking to assign. So the PropStream list had already been created the year prior. This was just me consistently following up with leads that had already said yes to me the year before, and we had just not worked out the details of our transaction. I can't exactly remember, maybe we had a disagreement on price or they weren't ready to sell. Whatever it is, I followed up 9 to 10 months later, actually got the deal under contract and assigned to one of my buyers that had already bought 2 of the lots in that neighborhood from me. And these buyers that originally started working with me back early in my career, I still associate with to this day. So the list was actually created on PropStream. If you'd like for me to make a PropStream video on how I pull lists and the certain filters that I use, I can do that. Just leave a comment below. But the list was pulled on PropStream, and the marketing method for this one, if you're noticing a pattern throughout watching these videos, you know I love SMS. And back in the day, it was a lot easier to get started with SMS, whether it's starting on your phone, texting from a Google Voice number, or even starting with software. It was a lot easier when I got started back in 2020 and even when I was texting in 2021 than it is today. So don't get discouraged if some of the marketing methods that I'm talking about seem like they have a harder barrier of entry to get into these days. There's ways around everything. And if you're having trouble getting your SMS or cold calling campaigns even started or software is lined up, just reach out to me and I can help you with some alternative methods. So the marketing method was SMS. I actually had sent an original text message to this owner all the way back in August of the previous year in 2020. And at that time I was using batch leads. So I had to manually remember to continue to follow up with this person. Whereas now I use launch control, so I can just set them on a drip campaign to where they get followed up with every 60 days. So in theory, if I was using launch control back then, it probably would have been a lot easier. But I was so new and didn't have as many leads as I do now, so it was very easy for me to remember specific leads at that time. So the initial message was sent through SMS, and then once I was gathering the information, I was already so familiar with the neighborhood that it was business as usual. I just asked about the utility situation, even though I knew that it had public water and would need a septic system. At this point, all I really needed to know was their asking price and if they had a soil test for that septic system that would need to be installed. They did not. So when I presented my offer, I let them know that I would need enough due diligence for a soil test to be performed. Now, these deals that I was doing in these neighborhoods, it was essentially reverse wholesale deals where I already had buyers lined up for these. I probably could have made more money just posting it on Facebook groups or Facebook Marketplace or even putting a sign in the yard myself. but I had already built a great relationship with these buyers. So as soon as they were under contract, I sent it to 2 people and let them know that I had sent it to them because they both know each other. And I just let them make the decision from there, and we went from there. So once the owner understood that once we go under contract, there would need to be sufficient time for a soil test, we worked out the purchase price. And the purchase price at that time was $30,000 plus closing cost, which was a significant jump from the year before. So the year before in 2020, my buyers were paying $18,000 to $22,000 per lot in this neighborhood. And the very next year, they were willing to pay $32,000 plus closing cost for a lot in this neighborhood because they had already done so much work in this neighborhood. They were very familiar with it, and they were very confident in the ability to resell the house upon completion. So this owner held out and probably made more money by holding out for my buyers to be willing to pay in the 30s at this point. Now, the market in this specific neighborhood has kind of gone stagnant ever since, because the lot that I'm currently under contract for right now, which is 3 years later, I'm under contract for $32,000. So holding out isn't always better, but in this particular case where they held out for 1 year or less than a year, they were able to get $10,000 more than they would have if they would have said yes initially. And it worked out for everyone. They were able to get more money because the market conditions had changed, and I was still able to get paid on one of the easiest deals in my career because my buyers were so confident with this neighborhood. Once we had settled on the price of $30,000 and I verified with my buyers that they would actually pay anything more than that, then I had the confidence to send them the purchase agreement. I sent a purchase agreement that was assignable with a 90-day close. I simply emailed them my purchase agreement template with the assignability clause in there and the closing date set for 90 days from the time that we went under contract, set to close with my preferred closing attorney. After they reviewed and approved it, I sent that same exact document to them via DocuSign so that way they could electronically sign, and I could as well. The moment it was under contract, I sent the assignment to my buyer. We agreed that they would pay a $2,000 assignment fee, when in actuality they wanted to be all in for $30,000. But they understood that with me being under contract, I am the contract holder, that they would have to pay some sort of assignment fee to get the deal done. And like I said, I probably could have had that property under contract and tried to find a retail buyer for it. But I had already built a relationship with these buyers. I know that the day after it was assigned to them, the earnest money was going to be deposited, the survey was going to be ordered, the soil test was going to be ordered, and I knew I was going to be working with a competent buyer that was going to ensure that we would get to the closing table, and I was correct. Once the survey and soil test were performed and everything checked out, and the title work was done, and we saw the title was clear, the closing attorney just scheduled closing with the seller and the buyer. There was no need to schedule with me because I was just doing the assignment, so I could either receive a check or a wire at closing. I didn't have to sign anything. So once they got it scheduled, the seller went in person and signed, the buyer went in person and signed, and the buyer actually wired the money to the closing attorney. All the closing documents were signed, the deed was recorded, the seller got their $30,000 minus the proration of taxes for that year, and I got a $2,000 wire, and all that I had to do was send a few text messages, send a contract for review to the buyer and the seller, and then a DocuSign each. And then I just had to send my wiring instructions to the attorney so that way they could send the $2,000 wire. So when you're wholesaling land, you are able to work 30 minutes collectively on a specific deal and make thousands of dollars. I've had deals where I've worked that amount of time and made $40,000. I've had deals where I've spent that amount of time working and only made $500. Wholesaling land is very unique in that sense. So to summarize my 14th closing, what was needed to get the deal done was PropStream to create the list, an SMS software to send the message to begin speaking to the seller, DocuSign for electronic signatures, and I found my buyer that I had already had the relationship established with on this deal just in Facebook groups. I was posting some of my older deals and we got connected, and I let them know early on that I'm new to land wholesaling. I have an ability to generate off-market leads. You know, if you can help me work through these leads and I can make an assignment fee on them, that'll be great, which ended up being very pivotal for my career. A lot of the buyers I was working with in the beginning took the time to educate me on why they were buying specific deals from me or why they were passing on specific leads and stuff of that nature. So it's very, very valuable if you're new starting off to get connected with solid buyers and build relationships. Even if you don't necessarily close deals with these people, if they can teach you something or offer you any sort of value, that's valuable. I know that sounds redundant, but it's true. Like, get connected with these builders, these buyers, these individuals that are interested in buying land wholesale deals, and try to offer value to them. Try to bring leads that they can buy and build a house on and make a lot of money, make $30, $50, $100, $200,000. And yeah, you're the wholesaler now. You may only be making $2, $3, $5, $10,000, whatever it is, but you're learning so much and you're ascending in your real estate career to where one day maybe you are the buyer for wholesale deals. So just make sure you get plugged in with these builders and these buyers and just offer value and just really have an open ear and an open mind and try to learn as much as you can. The frequently asked question that I get when I'm speaking with new and aspiring wholesalers is, how do I find buyers? I believe I've touched on this in certain videos and even made shorts about it, but I'll answer it here again. The best way to find buyers is to look for the individuals that are going to be the ones closing on your deals, whether they're an individual that buys land in their own personal name, or if they're the individual that buys land on behalf of their LLC. The best way to get started is to work with individuals that will actually be the decision maker, the person signing the closing documents, the person sending in the wire, not just Googling builders near me, because that may not give you the results that you're looking for. You're looking for individuals that are actually going to close on the property and buy it from you, either get a loan or use their cash or whatever means they have for the funds to build a house or build whatever it is that you're wholesaling land that is zoned for. You want to connect with those people, and then whoever they are hiring to build the house or the building or the warehouse or whatever, that's not necessarily who you want to be speaking to. You don't want to call a general contracting company. Now, I'm not saying that your buyers aren't going to be general contractors. It's just a lot of the times, if you're just Googling builders near me, what you're going to find is a custom home builder or just a general contractor that gets hired out to do the builds, not necessarily people that buy land and do builds themselves. I'm sure a majority of general contractors would be interested in taking a look at your leads, but you need to be speaking to that general contractor, not necessarily a receptionist or however they have their customer service set up. You call them talking about wholesaling land, they're not going to know what you're talking about at all. They're looking to speak with a landowner that is looking to get a bid for a house. So you need to connect with individuals that actually buy the land, whether that's on Facebook, Facebook Marketplace, Facebook groups, pulling cash buyers list on PropStream and calling and talking to these people that have bought land recently in an area that you want to wholesale land in. Or however, you can go to local real estate meetups and let people know, I'm an aspiring land wholesaler. I'm looking to connect with people who are buying off-market vacant land to do builds or to put mobile homes on. And that's how you will connect with these buyers. So you want to connect with buyers that are very specific about what they're looking for, whether they give you a buy box, which is pretty common in a place like Florida, and they let you know, in Lehigh Acres, I'll pay $13,000 for a lot with no utilities, $18,000 for whatever their buy box is. People or buyers will give you a buy box. Those are more valuable than someone just saying, oh, bring me a good deal and I'll buy it from you. Because if you have a good enough deal, you don't need a specific buyer for it. If you have a good enough deal, you can stand out on the street corner yelling, "I have a good deal," and someone will buy it from you. You want people that are very specific about what they're looking for. So when you're qualifying these buyers, the more specific they are, the more engaging, the more interactive they are, the better for you. Now I'm going to go over some more frequently asked questions. The first one being, how much should I budget to get my first deal? Now this is a bit of a loaded question because you technically can get a deal done for free. It's just going to be much, much harder than if you spent a lot of money, or any amount of money for that matter. But ongoing expenses can really vary. It just depends on what type of deals you're looking to take down and work on. If you want to be the contract holder of the deal and the disposition method, you're going to probably need to spend money on at least software's data and potentially marketing methods. Now, if you're okay with being a JV partner, there are more cost-effective ways of getting it done. It just really, really depends. So on the lower end of the spectrum, if you want to budget little to no money to get your first deal, you're probably going to have to be a JV partner in that you bring the buyer to the deal. So you need to partner with another wholesaler. And I know if you're following along with this series, you've heard me mention in other videos or YouTube shorts, or if we're on Facebook together, you may have seen me mention it somewhere there. But the free way is to bring a buyer to a wholesaler for a deal that they don't have a buyer for, or generate buyers in areas for a wholesaler that is not working in those areas. So for me personally, I'm working in about 9 different states, which leaves the other 41 open. So if you wanted to wholesale or JV with me, you could pick any of these states that I'm not already working in and then generate legitimate cash buyers for these land deals. And then I will go out and generate the leads, get the property under contract, and that's how we JV. Now, it doesn't have to be me. You can find any other reputable wholesaler, or if you have a friend or a family member that's interested in getting in this space as well, and they happen to have the budget to, get softwares such as a texting software or a cold calling software, and even as little or as simple as PropStream, then you can partner with them. They can go out and generate the leads and you guys can work that together. And then you just focus on bringing the buyer. That is the most cost-effective way to generate a deal. It's the easiest way to get something done for free. Other than that, I can't speak on other free methods because I've never done them myself, or I don't personally do them, such as going on market. I know a lot of people have success with working on market deals where the property's been listed for 100, 200, 300 days, and you just go and offer them 30 to 50% of their asking price, get it under contract with their realtor, and assign it to one of your buyers. That's a free method. I don't know how to advise you on that because I don't practice that. All of my deals are off market. I'm either exclusively under contract directly to the seller, or I'm working with a reputable joint venture partner who I have seen is under contract with the seller. So that is the way you can get started and get a deal done for free, or not that much money if you want to get some data and text people that have bought land in an area. Now, a little bit higher than that is lead generation services. I know for a fact that there are companies out there that offer lead generation services for a one-time fee, and I've actually begun to offer this service lately because I've had many discussions with aspiring wholesalers who are asking this question about the budgeting, or how much does a virtual assistant cost, or anything like that. And once we begin speaking and they find out that ongoing expenses can potentially be a few hundred, even up to thousands of dollars a month, they're a bit scared off and they want to go and look for the free way. But I am offering turnkey lead generation, skip tracing, cold calling, texting. I already have all the softwares. I already have data. I already have trained virtual assistants. So now I'm just offering another solution for people who want to get started with smaller budgets. So you can take a look at the the link below that says turnkey lead generation and just pick out a package that works for you. You don't have to work with me, that's fine, whatever. There are other companies that offer similar services. I know Lead Mining Pros is a popular one. We're offering similar services. So you can work with them, you can work with me. It doesn't really matter to me. I'm sure there are other companies out there. That's just the one that I'm most familiar with and I've actually used in the past. I didn't mind it, but I prefer to be direct to my virtual assistant because I'm working on land. So now my virtual assistants, they're all trained in land lead generation. So I can offer that for you, or you can work with them. That would have you in at less than $500 a month. Now, a big ongoing expense budget, you're probably looking at about $2,000 a month on the high side. That gives you a budget for an SMS software, a cold calling software, a prop stream or similar account, and then skip tracing, because you're going to need ongoing data as you continue to do this. So the SMS software that I use is called Launch Control. The base price of that is $500, and they have higher packages for a few thousand a month. But it just really depends on how many messages and how big your team is. Don't be scared off by that base $500 launch control price. Other SMS softwares out there are priced similarly because you need the base software and an SMS add-on, as well as a Twilio integration, which is going to be repetitive expenses as you're doing the SMS because you'll have to pay per text. Launch Control is one price. That's what you pay. That's what you get. You only have one charge one time. They handle the 10 DLC registration, the A2P, all of the regulations that you face as a wholesaler. Launch Control takes care of that for you. As far as cold calling softwares go, there's many out there that you can use. I use Batch Dialer. They're pretty good. They have a triple line predictive dialer. You can use them. PropStream is my go-to software for property information, list creation, and exporting. And then I use ClearSkip for skip tracing. You want to make sure you're using an accurate skip tracing source. If you've already found one that you like, or once you get going, you find one that you like, stick with it. It doesn't matter who it is. It doesn't matter what it is. Just find what works for you and is accurate and gets deals done for you, because this business is all about lead flow. You need to be talking to sellers and buyers every single day, making offers every single day, however that is possible for you. So the range of how much should you budget to get your first deal is from free, if you focus on doing a JV with someone, or if you figure out how to go and do on-market properties, all the way up to $2,000 to $3,000 per month. It just really depends. There are ways to get it done for in between, but it's possible for anybody out there, no matter your budget, to get a deal done. All you have to do is just make sure you're talking to sellers and or buyers every single day, and you're making offers. If you're doing the right steps, you're taking the right steps and taking the right action, it will eventually work itself out. You just have to have direction and head in that direction.